A very good morning to you. How are you doing? Welcome to Parenting Tuesday right here on Jam 316 on Family Radio 316. We're live on Family TV as well. Today we want to talk about our children, the candidates who were supposed to sit for exams this year, but now they will have to sit for the exams next year. Have you ever repeated a class? Do you know the stigma that comes with repeating a class? And this whole notion of wasted year, we are repeating the class. I find it those words are not carefully thought out, because I can see them affecting our children. I was engaging a parent yesterday on social media, just trying to find out how their kids are doing. They were telling me one of their children doesn't even want to go back to school anymore. They were supposed to sit Form 4 exams this year, and this thing has so affected them. They're thinking another year in school again. Wachai kai. It's a serious issue that we need to discuss, the emotional state of our children. I think that's something we had not figured and thought about with all these disruptions that are happening in the education sector. I think it was early this year, if I'm not wrong, I think there was a girl in Mombasa who committed suicide because she was supposed to repeat a class, and that was just so devastating for her. She took her own life. So these are serious matters. And so this morning, if you have a class 8 or a Form 4 child, let's have a conversation, because I really want to find out, how are they coping with this change in the education calendar? So be a part of this conversation by letting me know how they are and how they are doing, especially emotionally. I hope you're able to read the signs of your child emotionally. Sometimes they say, it's fine, but you can begin to see withdrawal, lack of interest, and things like that. That is something that we need to address. SMS is on 20316, WhatsApp on 0786 316 316. Parenting candidates, that's what we are looking at this morning. How can we help our candidates now that they have to wait until next year? It may seem like a small issue, but from their perspective, I can guarantee you it is really a big issue that we need to discuss and find out how to help them. In studio with me today, mindset change and behavior coach, I have Karthik in studio. Karthik, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing, Pastor?
I'm fine. It's good to have you.
Oh, nice to be here as well.
You know,
good morning.
Yes, I was sharing earlier how I still remember when I had to repeat class. I repeated class 6.
Yes.
And it was a bit traumatic. And back then it was not a big deal to others. But for me, I'm thinking, I'm seeing my friends who are my classmates going ahead, and me, I'm lagging behind. And there's that connotation of you're not smart enough. How can you repeat?
Yeah.
That word repeat, let's begin with that. I don't think it's the right word to use for this season, that all students will have to repeat the class. I don't know what you think about that.
Exactly. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that word. In the morning, I was trying to figure out, why is it that everybody is saying repeat?
Yeah.
Nobody's repeating anything. This is a long break that we have because of unavoidable circumstances, right? So this is not really repeating, because these kids have not gone through that class.
Yes.
So it's almost, I would rather we use a word such as recommencing. They had started, but for some time, for some reason, there was stalling and there was a break. So come next year, they are recommencing, just starting again.
Yes.
That's not repeating. Repeating is having completed something and then going back to ground zero and starting again.
Because you didn't do well.
You didn't do well. But this one, it's not that anybody failed. No. So we start from there, clarifying and using the right words as far as this whole scenario is concerned.
Yes. You think that word repeat has an effect on our children?
Absolutely. Psychologically speaking, growing up, many of us had the word repeat, and that is why we were working so hard not to repeat, right?
Yes.
So these kids already know what repeating is in their minds. Subconsciously, they know repeating means, oh my God, I'm going back to the same year, I'm growing old, some of us are going to be having beard by the time we are coming out. It's traumatic almost, to be honest. So I would rather we change the word from repeating to something else that will help these kids now start thinking, oh, okay, I'm not repeating. I was given a long, let's call it a winter break, right? A long winter break, right? But then come next year, it's the same class. I didn't do any syllabus. I didn't go through the books that I was supposed to go through. And by the way, you're not alone. It's the entire country.
Yes.
In those days, repeating most likely you are 2 or 1.
Yes.
And it used to be very demoralizing, if I may add.
Your friends would laugh at you.
Oh my God, it was so bad. I remember my sister repeated class 7. She had completed class 8. She had to go back to class 7. It was bad. Up to this day,
No, that's a serious
it
one.
affected her.
Up to this day?
Yes. Up to this
these are
day.
serious
And she's a
matters.
mother with kids now. These are serious matters.
Yes.
So we need to take, as we talk to these kids, it's time now to break down, look at the things that are happening and break down, because this is perception versus reality,
Yes.
to be honest.
I like that.
Yeah, these kids have a certain perception, but the reality of things is so different. So it's time for conversations.
I like that. I was thinking earlier today,
Yes.
I'm trying to imagine a child who had repeated last year. Yeah?
I can
So
just imagine.
they had repeated so that they can be a candidate this year. And now they are back at it again. I have to again wait another year. I can't even begin to imagine what could be going through their mind.
Let's admit there's a lot of stress going on. There's heightened stress. Unfortunately, COVID didn't just come as a disease. It came with a whole host of issues. So the kid might not be sick from COVID, but you can be sure there's some psychological trauma, especially for those who are repeating, who feel as though now they've been delayed 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. I mean, they're thinking, I'll clear Form 4 and I'm 20, 21. My God, I'm a father. You
Yes.
see? But you see, when it's a mindset that we need to correct. Social norms have changed. We are no longer doing the same things we've been doing. Things have changed. And of course, like I mentioned last time I was on your program, I said this is an unprecedented event that has happened. We've never seen this even in our lifetime. So kids need to be talked to. We need to encourage them. It's time to talk to these kids. And those ones who've been affected, there are some who are really taking it so badly, they need psychological help.
Wow.
Yes,
What could be
psychological
going
intervention.
on for that child who's been affected seriously with this thing? What are some of the things that could be going on in their mind at this time?
My goodness, a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions, conflicting emotions. Remember, these are teenagers.
Yeah.
And teenagers, unfortunately, at their age, they speak two different languages.
Oh.
There's the non-verbal, the one you never quite get, and that's the real emotion. And there's the one that, they're trying to impress you. I'm okay, Dad. I'm doing fine, Mom. Don't worry. Niko sawa. They speak two languages. And if you're a parent and you're not able to catch those non-verbal cues, then you're in trouble. It's time to learn your kids. Because you need now to get the emotions, not the words that they're speaking.
Yes.
You need to catch the emotions that are coming out of them. And one of them is stress. You can be very sure these kids are having stress.
Wow.
Yes.
There's a friend of mine, we were having this conversation yesterday, and they were saying they also have 2 candidates, and saying, my kids are saying they're okay, but I can notice a change in mood. They are withdrawn. They don't even want the online classes anymore. Yeah, they don't want to do anything, but they're saying they're okay. Is that a sign?
Low motivation.
You need to follow up on this issue.
Absolutely. Of course, that is one of the signs. There are many signs, and different kids exude different kinds of symptoms when it comes to low motivation. It's a sign of low motivation. And low motivation is because of stress. And of course, if there's too much stress, low motivation, then anxiety sets in. And if there's anxiety, then again, we don't want to go too deep into depression and the other issues of mental health.
Yes.
So the minute you see, because some parents know their kids very well, actually. So I like what that parent said. She could see there was a change.
Yeah.
She needs to follow up on that. She needs to sit down with her, with each of them, not together because they are both different, I'm assuming. She needs to sit down with both candidates and find out what is this emotion, what is going on behind these emotions, behind this mood. She needs to find out.
Wow.
Yeah, she needs to take it further.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parents, we're inviting you to be a part of this conversation if you have a child who was supposed to be a candidate this year, either from 4 or class 8. Tell us how they are doing and maybe some of the challenges that you are going through. There was a text message that had come in earlier. Just before we began this conversation, let me find it. This one says, I have 2 candidates, one class 8, the other form 4. 1, I am personally affected. This is now the parent. I am personally affected because I don't know what to do with them. One can't study on his own. He just needs special attention And it's disheartening to see him struggle, since paying a tutor at this time is also expensive. Now, they had given up, and one said no need even for studying. I had to talk to them to encourage them that hope is not lost. One had plans for next year, and he feels cheated.
Oh, I love that. She started by talking to them. Is it a she or a he, the parent?
The parent is the mother.
It's the mother,
Yes.
right? That is really good, where she started, like talking to them and encouraging them. That's the first step.
Yes.
Because if you don't encourage them to see the positivity of this whole scenario of staying at home for 6-9 months, then again you're going to deal with a lot of issues. You are the parent, and I love that she started by encouraging them. That's number one. Then number two, I can only imagine what she's going through now that she's asking, what do I do with this candidate who needs assistance?
Yes.
What I will encourage parents to do is form WhatsApp groups or join groups of parents who are dealing with similar
Almost
issues.
like a support group.
Exactly. Find out what is so and so doing about the son. Because actually when people come together, they help each other a lot. What might work for one will not work for the other. Some kids, of course, are average students. Some kids are poor, and some are they are good. They don't need any tutoring, right?
Yeah.
So when you join such support groups, you're able to pick what is going to work for your household. That is what I will encourage parents to do at this time.
How do we help our children manage these emotions? Because the other thing is, you see, just like you said earlier, COVID has come with a lot of issues that we did not anticipate.
Yeah.
And so now they can't even go out. They can't go out and hang out with their friends and stuff like that. So they're just having to deal with this issue probably on their own. Maybe the parents are busy.
Yeah.
Because we're also trying to make ends meet. Some people have lost jobs. You're trying to figure out what next. And there can be that tendency to ignore them. Maybe they're just in their room the whole day. How do we begin to help them to deal with these emotions? Because we can't ignore them. We can't pray them away. This is what we have to deal with.
Actually, it's a dangerous situation, to be honest. Speaking from a psychological point of view.
Okay.
These kids need, any kid below 18 years, they need mentorship.
Okay.
They cannot deal with emotions on their own. And unfortunately, some parents are assuming my kid is 14 years, 16 years. They'll be fine. I was fine when I repeated. Big deal, right? No.
Things are different.
Things are very different. What these kids are dealing with in this day and era is not what we dealt with in our days. So, yes, they are having a lot of emotions. What I will encourage parents to do, number one, they need to have schedules in their home. This is one way of dealing with all these kinds of emotions coming in, stress coming in for these kids.
Yeah.
It's because their lives have been disrupted. Change has come. They were not ready for it. They had lives that were well planned, well set. By 18, I'm done. I go to maybe Nairobi University. I mean, these kids had planned their lives out. But you see, they're under 18, so they do not understand when change comes, you change with change.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They have to accept change. But how do you help them? Number one, you have to have a routine in the house. Help them bring back the routine. When you bring a sense of routine in the house, they're able now to stabilize as far as their thoughts are concerned, as far as their emotions are concerned. Number two, you need to set time. Maybe you're busy, yes, but I'm assuming at the end of the day you'll go home, right?
Definitely.
You need to set time to sit down with your kids. If they are going to cry, let them cry at that time. If they are going to make noise at that time, let them do it. There has to be round table conversations with your kids. If you ignore that, that's why we are seeing issues where kids are getting pregnant out there. They went looking for somebody to help them.
All these things are connected.
Exactly. They are looking for people to listen. Nobody's listening to these kids. Where are the parents? Okay, yes, you're busy. Yes, but at the end of the day, at the expense of your family, work, yes. But at the end of the day, when you get home at 8, take 30, 45 minutes, sit down with your children. No matter how tired you'll be, just sit down and talk to them. That one, I've been sensitizing parents on talking to their kids. We've been, for the most part, the teachers have been doing our jobs.
Very true.
Now,
very true.
We've realized how much the teachers have been doing, actually, throughout the year. Now the ball is in our court. We have to deal with these kids. Sit down with your children. Let them cry. Like yesterday, I was talking to a niece of mine. She had just written her emotions. She has a diary.
Okay.
She had written emotions down. which is something I will also encourage parents to do with their kids. If kids love writing, let them write their emotions down. It's a way of therapy. It's a therapy. We use it for therapy for kids, exactly. At times when they are not able to express their emotions. So she wrote down her emotions, and when I looked at them, and she was so scared, looking at me, thinking I'll scold her. I told her, no, this is good. I love this. But when you read as a parent, you're thinking, oh my God, what is this?
Child is a mess.
Oh my goodness, what is going on? But no, encourage them. Then you're able to see, because I told you, teenagers have two conversations. There's what is inside, and there's what they're talking. Because when you talk to my niece, what she says, you'll think she's okay. But when she writes things down, you see, there's something else going on. So encourage kids to take up therapy, self-therapy, through writing of diaries, through getting involved with, life skills here and there, creative things. There are times we used to do modeling, you remember?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
We used to do pottery, we used to do modeling. If your kid is young, if you're able to buy those plasticine, they really help in therapy, actually. It's
interesting you bring that up, because a friend of mine yesterday was responding, and she said, in fact, this is what she wrote. She wrote, my daughter has never been this busy with crocheting and crafts.
Oh, good.
She says, bora tuna repeat wote. I think as the parent, I'm the one who's more frustrated.
Oh, I love that. I love that attitude. Exactly what I was talking about.
Yes.
It's perception and attitude. The kids who have the right attitude, they'll be good. They'll be okay. No big deal. But there are those who have a mindset, a set mindset, whereby things have to move this way, and you can't blame them. It's their personality. What do you do? But as a parent, you need to know your kids. This one is taking it well. This one, I need to dig a little bit further and find out what is going on.
Yes. Do you have any questions for us today? Or maybe you'd like to share your experience if you have a candidate. What are they going through in this season? How are you trying to help them to navigate through all these emotions? 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. Remember, it is Parenting Tuesday on Jam 316. We are talking about parenting our candidates in this season. Had the opportunity to talk to a teacher who was supposed to be teaching candidates this year, and she's also a mother and a mother to candidates herself, and just trying to find out issues from her perspective as a teacher and tips she can give to parents about how to handle this whole situation. This is Agnes Ndirangu. Let's listen to what she had to say.
Hello. Mwalimu, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing very well.
I'm also doing very well, I thank God.
Amen, that's good. My name is James Okumu from Family Media.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of things regarding our children.
Okay.
Now, especially the candidates. Now that they can't do the exams this year, they have to do the exams next year. How can the parents help them to cope emotionally? Because if I remember back to class 8 or Form 4, it was a very big deal for me, jumping from primary to secondary, of thinking I've finished school. So there's a lot of emotion attached to it. So how can our parents help their children cope with this circumstance?
Okay. First of all, my name is Agnes Ndirangu.
Yes.
I'm a teacher, a counselor, and a mentor. On the issue of the candidates, the class 8 now, I think it is so traumatizing to them. And again, it is an issue that was expected or unexpected to them. But having been in school for that long, I know to them, every person has a mileage.
Yes.
To them, they had already set their mind by the end of this year, they had to do their KCP, which was unfortunate. They are not going to do it. I know most of them now, they can't hold their books anymore.
Yes.
Because they're imagining, I'm going to go back next year to the same class. They are calling it even repeating.
Yes.
We are trying to dodge around and trying to get rid of the word repeating, because we are like telling them, we will go back, we'll start from where we stop. I think as parents, we have to do something. And what we need to do is create a time and talk to these children. They're fine. They don't have to run away from study, because at the end of it all, KCP will be there. whether it is 2021 or 2022. It has to be there.
Yeah.
So sitting down with their children, making a plan of homework, what should be done when you wake up in the morning, what should you do, help in household chores. Let them also relax. Let them watch the television. Let them watch the cartoons. Let them go out and play basketball, the netball, and also join the others. Because now I know closing them in the house again is becoming something else.
Yes,
you can't manage keeping them in the house again.
Very true.
You cannot close them from morning to evening.
Yes.
We must limit this stress.
Okay.
Because if a child is stressed, it will find it difficult for them to study.
That's true.
I know with the talk, and I really believe in talking. One-on-one, when you talk with the child, it will relieve stress, because an advice that you give may help so much. But these children, I know they have more of potentiality in so many things. They are good in drawing, cooking, playing music.
Okay.
I think even them listening to me, they don't have to sing already, but they can also, they don't have to have this musical instrument in the house like piano, because not every child can afford.
Okay.
They can sing, they can do, you can help them.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Mwalimu, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today and give us a few tips. I believe kuna mzazi amesikia imemsaidia.
Okay.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
In studio with me this morning, Karthik Karaoke, helping us to get an understanding of where our children could be at and how we can help them to navigate through these murky waters. I have a very interesting text here from a candidate. She's called Nicole. Nicole says, as a candidate in Form 4, I'm having a hard time to keep on studying and to keep motivated. My mom is a widow and she has to do what she has to do to provide. When she comes home, she's always very tired. It feels like this will not end anytime soon, and I'm not the kind of person who talks a lot. I find it hard to keep on moving. Please tell me one thing that will keep me motivated.
Oh, wow. Nicole. I can only imagine what Nicole is going through right now. And probably many other candidates out there. What I would encourage Nicole this morning is that she needs to look at the future. And also look at the past. Nothing lasts forever. There's a time and a season for everything. Let's assume this is a time for famine. Famine will go.
Yes.
And then we'll have a time for plenty. So this season will not last forever. Yes, it looks as though it's taking forever. I don't know when I'm going back to school. I have nobody to talk to. Number two, I'd also encourage Nicole, even when the mom is tired, to try and see if she can just find time when you can talk to your mom, because you need someone to talk to.
Yes.
You can't just stay alone in the house studying. All work with no play actually makes Jack a dull boy. And when they say that, they didn't mean dull in terms of that you look so dark or anything. They meant mentally. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
So she needs someone to talk to. Can she call somebody? Can she call her aunt? Can she call a cousin and talk? She needs to express these emotions to somebody.
Okay.
She needs someone to talk to, and I will encourage her to reach out to a close relative. And if all fails, she can always reach out to you, and then you can always reach out to me.
Oh, yeah. Very true. Very true. We can do that. What about this one? This one says, my son feels attending any more classes online is a waste of time since he will be starting afresh again. I didn't have a response to that reasoning, so I just decided to give him a small break. I imagine how he must feel about how much effort and energy he has expended during this time with the hope of going back to class.
All right. What I will tell that parent, when you see your child is suffering from burnout, it's a kind of burnout. It's a kind of burnout, because it's study, and by then I'm going back to school next year. What's the big deal? I mean, my teacher will teach me these things. Number one, parents need to incorporate non-formal and informal education. It's not just studies. It's not just books. These kids have talents. These kids have skills, extra skills. It's time to harness those skills. If this kid loves football, I don't know how you'll do nyumba kumi in that area and make sure they're following all the guidelines of the health, but these kids need fresh air. They can't always be in the house. What that child is saying in terms of he's tired of online, it's not that he's tired, it's burnout. It's burnout. He's just, of course, it will happen to anybody if all you're doing is studying.
And then we have to recognize this is so new to them as well. Staring at a screen the whole day. It even affects your eyes.
It's tiring.
Me, if I stare at a screen the whole day, I get a headache. I get headaches, serious headaches. I have to take breaks. So I can't imagine our children before a computer the whole day. It's very tiring.
It shouldn't be the whole day, actually. Also, we need to remember the concentration span of these kids.
Yeah.
Attention span is shorter than that of an adult. So don't expect your kid to be there for 3 hours. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Give them breaks. Give them breaks. And breaks do not mean social media or movies in between.
Yes.
That does not mean that. If it's a break, if it's in the morning, let them do an hour.
Yeah.
Then they take a break of 30 minutes or 1 hour. And then again, you come back with a new subject every day from morning. But then from around midday, please give them something else to do. Life skills. That is why I'm insisting. It's time to teach your kids how to knit. It's time to teach your kids how to make a stool.
You know, I was talking to a friend of mine and just finding out from her, how are your kids doing with this online business? You know, being at home the whole day. And she told me something very interesting. This is actually my pastor's wife. She said, interestingly, my kids have become friends.
Oh, wow.
The infighting, hii kidogo kidogo imekuwaga kila saa, it's no longer there. And then, you know, when COVID hit, we released our house girl because she wanted to take a break. Because now the kids are at home. She says they've learned how to take care of the house and they're friends. They talk for hours. And I'm thinking, Jehovah, this is the good side of this COVID thing.
You will be surprised. These kids are talented. You will be surprised. You will be surprised. You know, these kids go to private schools. Some of them go to private schools where, and unfortunately, some private schools do not enhance extracurricular activities.
Yes.
They concentrate on books.
Yeah.
But if you take some time and look at your kid and just give them some tasks to do, don't worry whether it's perfect or not. Forget about perfection. Let these kids put their hands on the vyombos. Let them wash.
Yeah.
Let them clean the houses. Let them scrub the bathroom. Help them understand. Let them know how to use their hands to work, not just their brains. You will be surprised. Some of these kids are so good at what they do with their hands as opposed to what they do with their brains. It is a talent.
I saw a picture of a friend of mine, Martha, yesterday on social media with her son, and they were busy making these mats. This mat you make with threads and what. And I thought, wow, that's nice.
That's very creative.
The child seemed so engaged in what he was doing.
That's very creative. I will encourage parents, if you've never, and unfortunately, some parents have never really had that time, or really they were never really brought up in the creative arts.
Yeah.
Well, make YouTube your friend. Learn some new skills and learn it with your kids.
Yes.
For example, I stay with my niece and she loves cooking. Okay, she loves eating. So I told her, if you love eating, you better learn cooking. So we're always with her.
Wow.
Baking pastries in the kitchen. They have to learn new things. I mean, make it so interesting. And then, by the way, we eat the pastries, and then the remainder, I tell her, go sell them out there. We have a kakibanda just outside the house.
Yes.
And she puts on her mask, she uses her gloves and picks things and sells. 5 shillings, and she sells. She brings the money at the end of the day and tells me, I made 100 today from cookies.
Wow.
You have to harness these skills. Because what do you do now? When they go back to school next year, you won't have this chance. I believe it's almost as though God has given us a chance to train these kids in other things. Maybe God heard the cry of many parents.
In fact, I was going to ask you, do you think this is a blessing in disguise?
It is. It is a blessing. To me, I think it's a blessing. We are looking at it in terms of education. Let me ask you, what if education was to cease completely?
Exactly.
What will you do?
What if we can't go back to school? What do we do?
Teach your kids how to have a small balcony garden. It's time.
Yes.
If you live in an apartment, teach your kids new things. And there are so many things out there to teach your kids. So many things. It's not just knitting. Nowadays, they are small to cherehanis. I don't know if they're called sewing machines.
Yes.
Very small ones. Buy. They're only 2,000 or maybe 1,500 shillings, some of them secondhand. Buy for your girl. Teach them how to sew small dresses.
Yes.
I mean, it's an activity, and I can tell you they enjoy. This is the time to bring out the creativity in these kids. In fact, I love what you were telling me earlier, that your kids at times are so tired they don't even have time for TV.
Yes.
That's exactly what we are supposed to do with these children. Don't feed them with movies, series after series after. That is what is bringing low motivation in these kids.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Parents, do you have any questions for us? We have a few more minutes remaining as we continue with this conversation. There's something that has also been said in line with they are repeating. The other statement that I really get angry when I hear is a wasted year. This has been a wasted year. What do you mean it's been a wasted year? We will talk about that in a bit. But parents, giving you one more opportunity to be able to ask your questions. 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786316316. I have several SMSs. Pauline Chola, how are you doing today? Good to hear from you. You say, good morning. I think God shut everything down so that we can go back to factory settings. I'm really enjoying just seeing my kids becoming what God intended for them to be. Like I've always said, school and education is great, but it's way overrated. And without fear of contradiction, it had become a god. I think I tend to agree with you on that one. Thank you, Pauline. This one says, as a teacher, I would advise parents to develop hands-on skills in their children other than majoring in books. That skill could be what they will turn into a business in the future. Exactly what Kathy is telling us this morning. And then Millie, how are you doing? Millie, you say, my son is a class 8 candidate who is still believing in a miracle and hoping not to repeat. How can I advise him? Because he is in denial.
Oh,
that's a tough one.
That's a tough one,
yeah.
Yes. He's stuck.
He's
stuck.
Yeah.
And he needs to move on. Okay, we need to also understand that these kids are suffering from a kind of loss.
Yes.
And they need to grieve.
Yes.
Okay? So they're in denial, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to reach the acceptance stage. I'm not going to go through all that. But then basically what I'm saying is the parent has to walk hand in hand with the child.
Mm.
They have to explain the reality. Like I said, most kids are holding a certain perception.
Yes.
But it's not the reality.
It's not the reality.
It's
like
not.
This one.
Exactly.
Yeah, because there's no repeating.
Exactly.
Mm.
It's the duty of the parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me tell you something, kids normally feed from the environment.
Yes.
They feed from their parents. They feed from their teachers. So the teachers are not here to help the kids think anymore. Because they've been, actually teachers mentor kids more than parents, to be honest. Because when you look at the year, most of the time they are with the teachers.
Yeah.
Now the teachers are not here. Who's supposed to mentor the children? It is the parent.
Yes.
And if all you're saying is, mnarudi shule lini, this is, hatuna pesa, that negative talk is going down to the kids. That is what is bringing negative, exactly, negative emotions and negative thoughts.
Wow.
So don't blame this kid if they start having some funny ideations. In the future, I don't want school, I feel like committing suicide, I'm tired. Where did it come from? And where was the parent? Parents have to sit down with their kids, especially that child.
Yeah.
The parent has to step in.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about the notion of a wasted year. What are your thoughts about that? Because that statement, I don't like it, and I don't think it's true. It's not a wasted year.
Again, it's a perception, but it's not the reality. What I believe, this is not a wasted year. It's only a wasted year to them, like you were saying, who have nothing to do and they're doing a lot of nothing in the house.
Yes.
Because if your kids are just waking up at 10, watching movies till 4, of course it's a wasted day and a wasted year, right? But if your kids have schedules,
yes,
they have things to do, you're training them new skills. At the end of the year, your kid can actually open your small hardware shop without you being there, and he's only 16 years old. You've trained that boy. You've trained that girl.
Yeah. So
it's time, if you are in the informal sector, it's time for you to bring your kids on board. Let them be a helping hand. And then again, I believe wherever you are, you're safe as far as the COVID measures are concerned.
Yeah.
So when I've seen some parents doing it in town, actually. I've seen some parents, they are now taking their girls, maybe like 16 or so, because you're not trusting the village or trusting the estate.
Yeah.
So you come with your girl to your little restaurant and you put her at the back. She's helping with cooking, making the pastries. You're there to make sure she's okay, right? But at the same time, she's learning. The social part of life is not gone, because if you lock up these kids in their houses, you will kill their motivation.
Yes.
You will kill their self-esteem. And guess what? You'll have a lot of stressed kids come next year. In fact, the academic, I don't know what is going to happen if we do not intervene now. And I'm happy with what Dr. Frank Jenga they did a research on mental health, and they
Yes.
said it's almost like a catastrophe.
Yes.
It is true.
It is true.
It is true.
Yeah.
So let's mitigate early. Let's intervene this early. Where do we start from? The parents. You're the first person. Before you get to the psychologist or the teacher, you're the gateway.
Yes.
Yes.
Finally, because I'm seeing we are out of time, there's something I was saying earlier on. I was ranting about our education system. And I was saying, you know, how the last time the president addressed the nation, he talked to the young people and how we have to think about things differently, do business differently, be innovative. And I'm thinking, isn't it about time we overhaul this education system? Can we learn some lessons from this situation? You know, and use this situation, because everything has been put on pause. Everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it would be foolish for us to go back to just life the way it was. I think it's an
a new
opportunity
normal.
for us, to begin to create a new normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these online platforms, we need to build them.
Exactly.
For some schools, they are working. Some private schools, they are working seriously. For some teachers, they're using them for tuition, and it's working in an amazing way.
Yes, and I remember we had the same conversation in the other program we had with you, and we were talking about now embracing the virtual going forward. The government, as far as public is concerned, they need to invest in virtual education.
Yes.
The universities, the ones that have gone virtual, they're doing very well.
Yeah.
They're doing very well.
Yeah.
High schools are the ones that are suffering, especially the ones that have the 844 system.
Yes.
They're the ones that are suffering. It's time to invest in the virtual world. That's number one. Number two, we have when you go to other countries, they also have these systems where they have homeschooling as well.
Yeah.
They do homeschooling,
Yes.
whereby maybe a parent can do homeschooling for a semester.
Yeah.
Then the other semester, the kid is back to school. Why? It encourages this kid to see different scenarios of studies. It's not always about class.
Yeah.
You have to be in a classroom studying. That is the mistake we've done. And I think this is a reset as far as God is concerned. I think it's a reset. And God is trying to help us now come up with new ways of doing things, because it's a new normal.
It's a new,
and we don't know how far COVID is going to go. Come next year, how sure are we it will be done with COVID? We could be going virtual next year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that is why I'm encouraging parents, even as you tell kids they'll open in January, please tell them not to expect the old normal. Talk to them about the new normal.
Yes.
We don't know whether they'll be going to class the whole day or it will be in shifts.
Yes.
Because these kids are so many, right?
Yes.
So in the morning, a teacher might be having 10 kids. Then after 3 hours, another 10 kids. Who knows? It's the government that's working on that. But then they need to expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
We just have to prepare for the worst, but expect the best.
Very true.
Yes.
Karthik, thank you so much for coming.
You're most welcome.
Appreciate your knowledge and insight.
Always happy to be here.
Awesome.
Yes.
Mzazi, talk to that young man, talk to that young girl. Usimwache peke yake, have conversations with them, engage them daily, get into their world, find out what they're feeling, what they're going through. I love what Kathy said earlier. Encourage them to write down their thoughts and their feelings and their frustrations. It's very, very important. Let's not neglect them. You know, if they're locking themselves in their room the whole day, there's something wrong. Please, please, please. Let's talk to them. The time is now. God has given us an opportunity to stay with them, parent them, and teach them new skills. Let's make the most out of this.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.